and cutting guys, I would have told you were insane. But do I agree with the strategy that they took going into it? I mean, you could see positives and you can see negatives in reference to it. I think we all wanted them to address left tackle, but I think when you look at the reality of it, right? I mean, from a realistic standpoint, I think you have to see that you've invested 2 years in Flowers. You know, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of contradicting opinions about him, and in reference to some people see that, you know, he played really well when Pugh was with him last year, and there were moments he was elite, and there was moments where he's terrible. So you can technically see that they, you know, going into the third year, that they want to give this kid a legit shot to step up. So if that's your rationale, and you don't want to dive and put in bad contracts into the left tackle position, Fluker to the right side, knowing that your left side is going to be Flowers, Pugh, and Richburg, to be able to say, okay, now we add Fluker, who isn't perfect. Again, a lot of inconsistencies, but the talent is there, the mean streak is there, the want to is there. And what's also encouraging about Fluker is that the Patriots were interested. And if the Patriots are interested, guys, there's talent there. So we'll get some feedback.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, well, whose radio's on?
No, so
turn your radio down.
Turn your radio down, dude, when you're in the car calling in, for Christ's sake. So I think if you look at it realistically and said they're going to add Fluker and they're going to say, okay, you know what? I think Hart's bone has kicked in as well. If they like the way Hart played at tackle down the stretch, you know what? I may not agree with that strategy, but if you told me that you're going to bring the defense back, if you're going to bring the offense back in whole, add Fluker, add Ellison to help with the tackles in the run game, add Marshall. I mean, we're an 11-5 team, dude. You're not taking away from the defense. You got a motivated JPP on the franchise tag. You know, let's play tomorrow. So, you know, I think we should be fired up as Giant fans. A lot of criticizing going on out there. In the past, it's been warranted, but right now, I mean, this is great. I mean, it's a great time to be a fan. A lot of optimism going into next season. We thought they were maybe 3 or 4 moves away to, you know, maybe competing to a Super Bowl when we looked at their roster, right? We thought it was left tackle, we needed a wide receiver, we needed a running back, we needed a right guard, you know, and then, you know, we needed to address if it was JPP or Hankins. Well, JPP problem is taking care of itself. It's JPP. Hankins is still up in the air, right? But there's still options out there. But they've addressed wide receiver. They're content with left tackle. They've plugged in right guard, and it seems like they're content with the running game. So, you know what? Let's roll, man. Let's play.
Absolutely. And the fact is, the one thing I do want to bring up is you haven't heard any rumors about Hankins signing with somebody else.
None.
And the fact,
the Eagles,
and the fact is,
the Eagles
I think there's
for a day or two.
Yeah, then I haven't heard anything. I think they're in. You know, this is pure speculation. There's a wink deal. Hey, once JPP gets re-signed, we're going to take care of Hankins as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I can think of because I don't see any reason why Hankins is not invites places.
See, I don't think so. I don't. I think you guys keep waiting for this miracle to happen of signing JPP. I don't think it's happening, guys. The offer's not going to change, and if he was going to take it, he would have taken it already.
Hold on.
I mean, he wants to get paid. He wants what he wants. I think the best bet is to hope that Hankins played out of position last year and it affected his stats from an analytical standpoint. A lot of teams are going on these analytics nowadays. Hankins had to switch spots because he plays the same spots as Snacks does. So they had to shift him over. It hurt his value a little bit. So maybe the Giants can luck out in this thing and find a way to get him back on an incentive deal. Or maybe the Giants are just content. What we don't know is if the Giants are just content to play this as a Linval Joseph, as a, Cofield type thing and be like, listen, we're good.
We got Myron on the phone. Myron.
And sign like an Odrick or somebody like that.
Is that Myron Guyton on the phone?
Hello?
Hello, Myron. How are you?
Hey, Myron.
Myron, can you hear us?
Am I on?
You are on.
Oh, I'm on. I didn't even know. What's going on, guys?
What's going
Hey,
on?
boss.
Not so much.
So you feeling that we're not going to re-sign JPP? Is that what's going on?
I don't think there's any way that they're going to sign JPP. I don't know why you would want to.
I mean,
I think
with what he did,
go ahead.
with what he did last year, you got to give him credit. I mean, he was stopping the run just as good, if not better, than Olivier Vernon on the other
100%.
side. You got to look at it from both
100%.
sides. He's great at stopping the run, and he can push the pocket. There's not that many defensive ends out there in the league that can do the things that JPP
100%.
can.
But you have to look at it. I agree with you. This isn't about. But you get that JPP when he is playing for a contract. You do not get that. There's a reason why he was lowballed in Coughlin's last season. They were worried about that you weren't getting 2011 JPP. You got 2011 JPP in the second half of the year when he was playing for that new contract, and the Giants gave him financial security, and he left it on the table for 5 months because he wanted to break the bank. Then he blows himself up. Then he comes back, and you're right. He played great last year. And the Giants are offering him $12 million. But with this market, if you're JPP and if getting paid was that important to you with 10 fingers, it's more important now with 7. So what I think the Giants are doing, what I think the Giants are doing is saying, you know what, we know what we're going to get. Work for our $17 million, which is market value for his position for a season. Play on the tag. We'll pay you your worth. And then let somebody else worry about paying you 5 years from now, 4 years from now, 3 years from now when you're making $19 million a year with a bad back and you're complacent.
Now let me get this straight.
And I think it's
correct me if I'm
genius.
wrong here. When you play under the franchise tender, all of it is guaranteed, correct?
Yeah, it's all against the cap.
Yes,
Straight
sir.
17.
I think so.
Yes. I mean, even if it's 17, 12, whatever it is, that's still a lot of money to go out there and prove yourself one more year. I mean, I don't understand why these athletes are so hesitant because they want security. I understand that. But, I mean, if you're guaranteeing me $12 million to play for one season, I'm going to do it and prove myself. But every time it seems he
100%.
steps up is when it's a contract year. That's it.
I agree with you. I mean, but to me, it's not about this year. Like, if you're telling me, like, if this team is so close, and I think right now, if you rescind the offer, who are you replacing them with? Even if you have that money, who are you going out and signing to bring in that's going to bring what he can give you value for, what he can give you at that position? So when you're this close to when you're this close to a Super Bowl, which I think with the additions that they've made, if they get lucky and stay healthy, God willing, this is a team that can compete for the whole thing next year. So, to the Giants, everybody's like going crazy, rescind the offer at $17 million. It doesn't make sense to rescind the offer. At this point, yeah, I agree with you. If it was me, I'd sign the $12 million over the next 5 years. But it's just, when you look at the history of this guy, if breaking the bank was that important with 10 fingers, how much do you think this guy may be saying, you know what, I'll put in a beast season and forget about what the market will be with the cap going up with these teams that have 60. I mean, can you imagine if he was a free agent with some of the money that's still available, how much money he would have made?
It's ridiculous.
Well, that's the
We
thing.
also
He
got
would have got the
next
money.
year, too,
$19 million
though,
a year.
Next year we got Odell as a free agent, and then the year after that we got Pugh's contract is up. I mean, we can't just throw this money around like there's nothing because we have more important pieces to take care of in the future. So like I'm saying is, you know what? I'm sorry, go ahead. I mean,
go ahead. No, go. You're good.
No, I'm just saying, like, we've never been a team to re-sign our defensive tackles. Look at what with Barry Cofield, Linval Joseph.
Yeah,
I mean, we've always let them play out their 4-year rookie contracts and let them go make money elsewhere. So I really don't see us
100%.
signing Jonathan Hankins. And what a lot of Giants fans are underestimating right now is this kid Darian Thompson. I know we didn't see a lot of him, but he's supposedly looking really good. And with him and Landon Collins in the backfield, with DRC and Janoris Jenkins and Eli Apple in the secondary, we can get a halfway decent defensive end that can push the pocket. And those guys in the secondary can cover. If we could just get decent pass rush, we will be all set. And I don't understand why JPP is taking so damn long. You want a Super Bowl ring, right? Then re-sign with the Giants, too.
here's the thing. If he signs the tag and he's going to play for the $17 million and roll the dice, right? I think then from a Giants standpoint, from a Giants fan standpoint, you have to look at what's going on around it, right? And from history, and this is because I got just way too much time on my hands. I look at all this shit. But
I'm just like you, brother. Trust me.
If you look who they're setting up, right, meetings with throughout the draft, all these kids, all this news that's coming out, right? You're seeing wide receiver, and you're seeing linemen, and you're seeing safeties, and you're seeing, running backs, and all this shit. You're not seeing defensive end, okay? And to me, logically, if you're the Giants right now, and with the depth at defensive end that's in this draft, you can sit steady at 23. You can pick up a defensive end, the best one available at 23. You can groom him and let him play and take a little load off JPP and Vernon this year, okay, because they played a ton of snaps last year. And you can groom that kid to take over for JPP.
I agree. And all this Christian McCaffrey talk is getting me aggravated because we do not need to draft a running back in the first round. I mean, if you look at it, the limited touches that Paul Perkins got last year, he was extremely elusive, and we just have no O-line. And that's another thing we got to worry about. I mean, that 23, I'm looking O-line, D-line. I'm not worried about running back. I'm not worried about wide receiver until the later rounds.
100%. I'm with you. I mean, if you're going to tell me that, but here's the thing, okay? If that kid David Njoku drops to 23, he's tempting because to add him to that offense, now you have to look at how deep is the draft at defensive end because it's not deep at tight end to the point where you're going to get another athlete like that. So, I mean, there's things to be considered when you're on the clock depending on who falls on, and that's why the draft is these mocks are ridiculous because every week, it's all going to come down to who's on the board at that time. And at 23, there's so many variables that it's just difficult to predict until it's there, until we're in the moment.
Hold on.
I remember that one year that I think we were at 23 and that we dropped down. We let the Steelers take our pick. They got Santonio Holmes, and we picked up Kiwanuka with the last pick in the first round. And I remember I was so upset about that. And that's another thing. Kiwanuka, they screwed him up. He should have been a 4-3 end in the Giants' career instead of moving around linebacker, this and that. He would probably still be with us. They screwed his career up by moving him around. I mean, he would have been great.
I mean, that's another thing. I mean, if you get to 23, and there's and you don't know how these teams are going to draft. I think every team that puts out information, it's pretty much bullshit. I mean, I don't take any or hold any merit into anything a team says about what they're doing or who they're bringing on or who they're. I think it's all a joke until they're on the clock. And I think at 23, you can see a scenario where both tight ends are gone. There's a run on defensive ends because there is so many athletes at that position, and there's such a need at that position throughout the league, where the Giants are in a position to say, you know what, are we better off trading back? Is somebody coming up? Does somebody want a guy right here at 23 where we can move back, still get value at the pick, and get another pick? So it's so difficult.
Hello, are you there? Caller.
Yes.
Who's this? What's your name?
My name's Dom.
Hey, what's up, Dom? How are you?
Hey, not much. I'm good. How are you?
Did you have any
questions?
What's up,
Dom?
Hey,
what's up,
guys.
Dom?
What's going on? How are you guys?
We're hanging in.
Doing good.
What do you want to bring up?
Not much. So I wanted to ask you guys about what you feel on, and I know you guys think that O.J. Howard and David Njoku might be drafted by the time we pick at 23, but I wanted your opinion on if one of them or both of them fall, how you would feel about the Giants taking O.J. Howard and potentially having a dual tight end set with him and Rhett Ellison and possibly somebody